are again. Another day, another holiday.
Another great holiday.
And what's this one, John?
Santa Lucia Day.
Santa Lucia Day. Now, Santa Lucia Day is celebrated on December 13th, and this is December 16th.
16th.
Yeah, so we're a little late. We had a busy week this week, a lot of things going on, so
Right.
we got behind on our holidays. But that's okay, right?
That's all right because it's really originally a solstice holiday, and because the calendar wasn't keeping up to date, it was really the 21st. Because
Yeah.
they had to add 10 days to the calendar.
Yeah, they had to switch it.
Yeah.
So now we have leap year, it's supposed to take care of all that.
So we're good.
Yeah, so we're good. We're not that far off. Right. So, what else about this holiday?
Well, even though it's a religious holiday, celebrating a saint is celebrated by both Protestants and Catholics and just the general public.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody.
So
It's
it's
a
a real
big
unifying
day, a
thing.
festival.
A big unifying holiday. So Santa Lucia, or Saint Lucy as she's known, was an early 4th century virgin martyr who, according to legend, brought food aid to persecuted Christians hiding in Roman catacombs. And she wore a candle-lit wreath on her head to light her way and leave her hands free to carry as much food as possible.
That's right, because they were very hungry.
Yeah, and so she came up with the idea, like a miner's helmet,
Yes.
to put the candles on the head instead of having the helmet, and then
That's
she
right.
could carry the stuff and not run into the walls.
That was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing for her to do.
Okay,
Well, the name of Santa Lucia comes from the Latin word lux, meaning light.
which of course makes sense because it was a solstice holiday, and
Right.
solstice holidays in Scandinavia are always about light.
Yes.
And this holiday is particularly popular in Italy because that's where Lucy was from.
Right.
And then Scandinavia, it just caught on there.
Caught on.
And it's celebrated different ways in different countries and catching on in more countries. But we're celebrating in the Swedish tradition.
The Swedish tradition, yes,
Okay.
that's where we are. Well, the main custom in Sweden is a procession led by a woman. We have Susan here
Yes.
leading our procession and representing Santa Lucia. She wears a white dress.
White dress.
Yes. She wears a white dress,
With a red sash.
a red sash.
Right. And so the white dress
Symbolizes a baptismal robe.
Right.
And the red sash symbolizes the blood of her martyrdom. And the crown of candles on her head.
Right. And that's after St. Lucy
Right.
in the catacombs.
The procession is accompanied by the singing of traditional songs.
Particularly the Santa Lucia song.
The Santa Lucia
Because
song.
it's so very appropriate, and that's what we came in on during our procession.
The Santa Lucia girl is, or woman, in our case here today, is followed by a procession of girls who carry cookies and saffron buns called Lucia rolls, yeast buns flavored with saffron, cinnamon, and raisins. And then people have coffee and ginger cookies.
So I made these rolls.
Look at those rolls.
And Chico is just fascinated by these rolls, right?
Right.
You want a roll? So I never made them before. I never even tasted one before. But I followed the recipe, and it looks like they came out just like the pictures.
They sure do.
And we ate one earlier, and they are really good.
They are excellent.
And then I didn't make ginger cookies. I used these Anna's ginger Swedish thins. And they are very, very popular in Sweden. These are authentic Swedish cookies. So they're thin and crispy and they're really, really good. So that's what we have. We have our buns, our Santa Lucia buns, and our ginger cookies.
Well,
Okay, so then John here, what about John?
yes.
What is he
Well,
doing?
role.
What is he doing?
What am I doing?
So there are, boys do get to take part in the procession, and they play different roles. So some are dressed like John in a white robe, and they have the cone-shaped hat, and it's decorated with stars, and he's called a star boy.
Star boy.
So there
Yeah.
he is, star boy. There are also, sometimes they dress up like Santa's elves carrying lanterns, and others dress up like gingerbread men. So there's a lot of diversity in how
Yeah,
the,
they brought a lot of things together.
Yeah.
Just a fun holiday.
because actually the celebrations in Sweden sort of evolved from a centuries-old tradition
Yeah.
of the star boy like this, with the
Yes.
hat and the star. But the girls were angels.
Angels.
And
yes.
they would sing the Christmas carols, but it actually evolved then into being a St. Lucie thing.
They put them together.
They put them together and started celebrating it on St. Lucie Day. And this was in the late 18th and 19th centuries.
Right, yeah. So the modern tradition of having public processions in the Swedish cities started about 1927.
Doesn't that seem late?
It does seem late.
1927, it's not that old of a tradition. Well, the St. Lucie part, of course, the other part with the Star Boys and the
Yeah, that was
Angel
old.
Girls, that was.
But, you know, it was the newspapers got a hold of the idea,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, it gets more, they're telling about it in all kind of way, and they want to make something out of it.
Right.
And they started having voting for the Lucy and
Competition.
competition, and then they didn't like the competition. Now they mainly do it by chance.
Yeah, like a lottery.
It keeps a lot of the way of,
Yeah.
you know, they just
More
makes it-
Christian way to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I suppose, you know, anytime people start competing, they start going goofy, huh?
No.
Yeah, so anyway, and then today, there's always, you know, this issue of gender roles.
That's roll.
And so there are males who would like to wear the candles and
Right.
be the St. Lucie. And so this is, you know, a problem now. There was one male who was elected Lucy at high school, and he was barred from performing.
Yeah.
And another did it together with the female, so they have both
Okay.
a St. Lucie, a male St. Lucie and a female
Yeah.
St. Lucie.
Just to bring more, you know.
But just, you know, it's so funny, in one case it was a 6-year-old boy that the school wouldn't let him appear with the Lucy crown because they couldn't guarantee his safety. Like, people are
Oh
gonna
my
like
God, come on.
do terrible things, this
Yeah.
little boy, because he's wearing a little crown on his
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
Oh, anyway,
Anyways, well, when we lived in Chicago, we experienced Santa Lucia Day at the Swedish Museum in Andersonville.
and I got this little girl.
Yes, you did.
See, I got this little Santa Lucia girl there at the Swedish Museum.
For a Christmas tree.
Yeah, got it for our Christmas tree. And we saw the procession
We
there.
saw the procession.
We saw
they
the
were singing
procession,
The whole thing.
high school girls, and then after they processed in, they did a little concert,
Hmm.
unlike John and I.
Yeah,
We did not do a concert.
we did not do a concert.
But I didn't have a procession of girls.
Yeah, so
No.
this is the way we've been doing these special celebrations for two.
Yes.
We have to use the two of us to do all the parts.
I was so happy because there was no Star Boys down there in Andersonville.
Yeah, they weren't, you know,
No, but I found out about the Star Boys, and then it was like, well, slam dunk.
slam dunk.
We've got it now, as long as we both have a
Right.
role. Otherwise, John would have to dress up with candles on his head,
That's right.
and we wouldn't be able to guarantee his safety.
Yeah, that would be something.
That would be bad.
They'd break down the doors or something.
But John has a connection to Andersonville.
I do have a connection to Andersonville. I served
It's a neighborhood in Chicago.
the neighborhood in
Yeah.
Andersonville on the
Swedish.
north side.
And it's Swedish.
It's a Swedish, it was
Tradition.
originally a Swedish neighborhood, and it's called Andersonville. You can tell by the name, Andersonville. And it had all kinds of Swedish restaurants, and Swedish this, that, and the other thing, Swedish stores.
The bakery.
And the Lutheran church is the church where the king comes over. But I was down at the United Methodist Church, which is a few blocks south of the Lutheran church, and it originally was a very strong Lutheran center And they even had 14 missionaries sent out by that church. But I got there in the 70s, about the 70s, I don't know, 68.
What church was it?
It was called Bethany United Methodist Church.
Okay.
And it was a very strong mother church of the Scandinavians, especially the Swedes, In fact, they spoke Swedish until 1939.
They did their liturgies in
Liturgy,
Swedish.
Swedish, and everything like that.
Mhm.
And a very, very interesting time I had there. It was a beautiful, beautiful church, a beautiful experience.
Did you wear the hat when you were there?
They didn't know about that, I guess.
I bet they knew about it.
Maybe they did.
You didn't know about
Maybe
it.
there were a few Swedish persons, and there were a lot of Swedes around there. But by the time I was there, it was pretty well mixed up neighborhood.
Well, that's about it.
That's about
That's
it.
about all we've got, except we're gonna eat our buns now.
We're gonna have.
You gotta put your sheet down so
I
we
see.
can eat a
Put
bun.
it down.
Yeah, so we can eat these buns, these delicious saffron buns. Which
Oh
one are you
yeah.
gonna-
Should we take a
You
bite?
want the ones with the raisins.
I like the ones with a lot of raisins.
Okay, so.
Happy
Santa
Saint
Lucia
Lucia
Day!
Day.
Mmm, yum.
Yum. Mmm.
These are good.
These are
Saffron
good.
buns with raisins.
Oh,
Good.
very good. Mmm. Mmm.